This is my family on holiday in August 1984. We come from all different birth families, but we're all one family now. We love each other equally. We have one mum. We're all called Roberts, and we're all adopted or waiting for adoption. This film is our story of what has happened to us during the last 18 months. But for this story to make sense to you, first of all, you need to know something about us.
All right, thank you.
In a family like ours, we can't afford to be selfish. This family just run to a halt or disintegrate.
I suppose everybody actually puts their bit in and helps out, you know, because it's going to be quite impossible if all of us don't do nothing, don't do the housework, I suppose. It just helps. Yeah, so we'll help out. Help Mum do things, like washing up and doing most of the housework, helping, reading stories to the little ones and taking them up to bed.
Giving them teas, yes.
It wouldn't be like any other family, I suppose.
Is there any cups in there, Jim? What? Is there any cups in that sink there? No.
We're talking about children who are here because they've been sexually abused. Children who are here because they have been rejected from birth. Children who possibly have lived with a family and gone through the trauma of the family having a breakdown. What you do? And if they're so damaged and so hurt, they just can't be placed in ordinary, what we would term in brackets an ordinary foster family with a mother and father, and they become labelled as difficult to place because of their emotional problems and behaviour problems. Then I would consider taking them here.
Remember when you first come, over your tooth, when you had that great big silver joint?
Don't say that, Mum, because I would not like to...
Look how handsome you look now. Well, that's how it's going to be with your eyes.
Scan.
Children come from all different kinds of family life, institutional life, that have been hurt, that have been, in many cases, degraded and lost their self-respect. I have to teach them when they come that this is something that we have to look at together, that we don't want to hide, that we want brought out in the open, because this is all what's made them what they are today, and that it doesn't have to be totally destructive.
Don't forget you need a shave today, won't you?
So who's Ian sharing with?
Jean,
Jane.
be careful.
So, Mum, who's Big Ian sharing with? Chris, isn't it?
What, when they come back today?
In a family like ours, we bring different life experiences so we can help each other. And we actually try to work things out when they pop up. If ever I look into a mirror, I'll always see a scar, and then that'll make me remember that I was in a bedroom and all cars were flying. I went into my room, my mum followed after me and started chucking all these toy cars around the room. And one hit me on the head. I went into hospital and I had 6 stitches. Our mum and dad would lie in bed and have a sexual relationship, and we would be made to wait, look, watch. Or join in. So whenever people used to come and try and touch me, I always used to back away and say, don't touch me, or run. When I was first fostered, I always thought that wherever I lived, everybody would be like it.
When you think about the months that we spent of you trying to get away from me and me trying to reach you, and it took months and months before I could actually say to you, Joe, do you really think I'm going to rape you? Yeah?
But that was in that bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. But we had to have it out head on, didn't we? That I wasn't going to sexually assault you, that's not what mothers were for.
But how long does it take us to get there? A year? It doesn't happen overnight, does it?
They need someone who's strong enough to be able to allow them to open up. Someone who's strong enough to be able to share their pain with them. Someone who's not going to make them feel that they have no rights to their own feelings of guilt and shame. Someone who is capable of helping them to begin to build their own self-respect and to value themselves. They need a parent.
You trust me?
Yeah.
Then what you're going to have to hang on to, all right, is that I want what's best for you. And I give you my word, Petra, nobody is going to force you into anything. Okay? Because you've got rights the same as I've got, or anybody else has got. And what you think and what you feel is important. Okay? You're a human being, love. And every human being, doesn't matter what they do, what job of work they do, where they live, how much money they've got, how much material things they've got, it isn't important. What's important is we all have the same rights. Right? And I will fight for yours and what you feel and what you think. Okay? Is there anything else you want to talk to me about? Do you know why you're in care?
Because my mum couldn't look after me.
Do you know why that was?
No.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know either, Petra. Because I don't know anything about it. But I do know this, that someone's going to look after you from here on out. And someone's going to parent you.
I don't remember much about it. Wouldn't want to. I know I was in the nursery home, that's about all I remember.
Like my dad, when he used to come home, he used to swear at her and everything. And we used to have a fight. And when my brother used to come home, he used to stop it. So I used to tell my brother.
What happened to your mum?
She died of cancer.
How did you become a part of this family again?
Well, I got mostly abandoned because my dad didn't like me. I mean, he used to get drunk, he used to pinch. You know, grab me right here and pinch. And then, when I started crying about my mum, he said, don't be stupid. Yeah. But that's all he ever said, stupid. My dad was like so many other people, frightened of his own feelings. And about his guilt and that. Hiding them with his drink. He was the one that was stupid.
I may be able to forgive them, but it's like the Jews, when the Jews were gassed in the war, if a soldier was gassed in the war, their parents would say, I can forgive, but I won't forget.
Now.
One of the things was, I was told that you're in this family now. You only have to worry about this family and what happens in this family. The past is the past. You're not going to go back. You're not going to jump suddenly back to the past and relive it all again. You're here now to stay for good. No one's going to take you away.
Nobody is going to make you do anything you don't want to do. Okay? Yeah? Now, if they come up with a family that you're happy with, right, and you want to go, then that's great. And we will still be here, and we will still visit you, and we will still love you, and we'll still care. Yeah? See, Petra, whatever happens, you've still got your bridging, and we're not going to go away. And if you do find another family, I'll still be around to help in any way I can.
When I say to them, well, you know, you were there for a long time and you obviously did talk, how come you didn't talk about deeper issues? And a child will turn around and say, you can only give them what they want. And I think that sums it up for the child, that they measure how much you can take and how deep you're prepared to go.
I mean, really, when it comes right down to it, okay, you say you're never going to be happy unless you can stay with me. Why do you think that is?
Because I love you.
It's really, when you look at it, it's because someone's cared enough to break through, isn't it? It's because someone's cared enough to push the walls down.
About 2 weeks afterwards, the social worker and the residential worker came down, and after a lot of discussion, and it was decided that Petra could stay. And I think we both felt, Petra and I both felt that we'd won. Every time we come back to London after a long holiday in the country, it seems as if, the children are living the time when they can go back again. It's gradually become so they don't want to be back here in London at all. The East End's changed. It's less of a community. You can live in a street like ours and not even know who your neighbours are. The whole sense of community life is gone. And then there's the pressure. A lot of the children are local. They have their previous families with, some of them have got drug problems, alcoholic problems. And we've had a lot of scares with parents just turning up on the doorstep. And then of course we need space. We need to be able to breathe a bit. And at the moment we're all very pleased because we've had an offer from Springboard Housing Association. They're the ones that house us now in London. And this offers for a big house in the country. Springboard have been asked to fill the empty properties and to bring some life back into this community down there. We're going to live on one end of the estate in a big white house that used to be a convent. At the other end, up about 100-yard path, is an old isolation hospital for tropical diseases. It's got 8 remaining residents who were former leprosy patients who are no longer infectious. It's known as the Home of St Giles. I think it's a wonderful idea. The children and the older generation will be able to mix. They'll have such a lot to give each other. And hopefully we'll be able to build a real community.
Tina, mind the way.
Where's she going? The table. We'll go up. All right, Joe.
Where's these going, Karen?
Put down.
Come in, yeah? See, Mum. Come on.
Kev, go down.
What you need to do is we've got to pull back on that side. Lever it out or something. No, we've got an hammer though.
And keep that thing, can't it be kicked
No,
in?
leave for it.
Well, see, then they've got can come. You can come over to us and we come over to you, can't we?
Yes.
We come and see and do you like drawing? We do some drawing with you. We play some records with you.
Yes.
Because we've got a big record player which you can play with us.
Yeah?
Yeah. So you can be enjoyable here with all us, yeah?
Never been here.
Never been in?
No.
You won't make Patrick sit there.
Ah,
Can I get you a cup of tea or coffee?
coffee, please.
Oh, you're freezing, aren't you? Do you want a drink, Neville?
Coffee, please.
Coffee, 2 coffees, all right. Do you take sugar?
Yes.
Neville, do you take sugar? Neville, do you
Yeah.
take sugar?
No, I've got my saccharine too.
No, you got the second.
Hello, Patrick.
Hello. What's your name?
Rachel.
Rachel.
I might probably do some art with you and Paul sometimes.
Do what?
Some art with you.
Oh, good.
I'll go get you yet. Marjorie, don't go. Stand up. Right, those.
It was a moonlight night.
Did you what?
Hmm?
Did you what?
Did you see the owl last night?
See, I was asleep. How would I see the owl? I wasn't looking for the owl.
You weren't looking for the owl.
I don't think you saw the owl either. You may have heard him. But you
I
didn't.
heard him.
Ah.
We've met Neville, we've met Patrick. What about the others, Mum?
Oh. No, they all share one thing, don't they? They're all institutionalised, they're all deprived of contact within society. They're all lonely. These people have been here for 10, 20, 30 years and they've had to cope with the fact that they've been ill and been isolated from the outside community. I noticed that 1 or 2 of them can't look at you, they don't have any eye contact, which again is natural from people that have been on their own for so long. I think probably there's going to be lots of things that are going to be upsetting and lots of things that, you know, we're going to have to change ourselves. What we used to do, and we're going to have to stop and think about it and consider other people. And that goes to them too, isn't it? They're going to have to learn to share. And I think we also have to remember that, you know, as a family, we've got lots of things that we can do. We've got each other, we go lots of places. But they haven't, you know, they stay here and the only thing they can do is play snooker.
It's better if we get to know one of the residents who actually usually plays a lot. Then we might be able to get a game in with him.
Maybe it would help if, you know, one of you approached them and asked them to teach you how to play it.
Yeah, and that'd be good for us as well, wouldn't it? Patrick, what are you doing? There's your...
You cut your own cloth.
I'm doing it. Yeah. See my cloth?
Hmm?
See my cloth? Do you want me to do that? Paul, why did you do this?
Hard, that's tough.
Where am I going to put this?
So it's actually a direct hit straight, or just on the...
Diabo, no. You see? It's not fair.
Mrs. Cox, Percy was telling me that when you came,
You used to dance with him?
What a Yana. What a Yana he is. He used to dance with the other ladies.
Did he?
I think you're special though, Mrs. Cox.
You think I'm special?
Yeah, because when he talks about you, he lights up.
Oh, now stop your nonsense. Stop your nonsense now. Percy's naughty to tell you that he used to dance with me. I never danced with him all my life.
Oh,
what a shame.
What about those parties you used to have in the hall?
He danced with other ladies, not with me.
Oh, perhaps he was wishing he was dancing with you.
No. You know, you two girls are very naughty. You'll tease me because I can't see.
Ah, beautiful. Are the 10 minutes over?
And then it all stopped. Hazel, the nurse in charge of the old people's home, was becoming obsessed by us. Like lots of people who run closed institutions, she was obsessed by power and she felt she was losing it.
I don't understand that kind of power, but it's like a sick possessiveness which comes through institutionalisation, isn't it?
Over the period of the next 10 days, she shouted and she screamed and she swore at them. She told them not to come over the bridge, to get up their end, that they were hooligans, that they were evil. At one time, one was slapped. I think the most important thing to remember about our family is that most of us have had to put up with adult violence sometime in our lives. I suppose to come to a Christian community and still experience that violence was shattering to them.
I do know that when the children did decide that they weren't coming up, that the residents certainly went through a very bad patch. And, well, several of them came to me and, you know, I saw them cry through sheer frustration at having been given something, and they were afraid that they were going to lose for good.
They're lonely again. They're frightened again.
They don't need to be locked up in cages. They're not little birds.
Yes.
And Joe?
And then I love Ian.
Yeah, Ian. He misses coming over because he used to come over
Yes,
and
he
sit with you
used
every
to
day.
come and sit with me and have supper with me.
Mm.
He and Rachel both.
Mm.
But then something happened that they don't come anymore.
Mm.
But I don't hold them responsible for that.
No.
However,
It's very difficult for someone like Mrs. Cox to understand. I mean, all she knows is that some of you, like Joe, were going in and visiting her, and she really looked forward to that. And all of a sudden that has stopped.
I mean, I find it difficult to sort of say to them, look, everything's going to be all right, we're still going to be around and everything. And they say, well, you know, are you? Because slowly it's all drifting, isn't it? It's as if the two sides want to get together and there's a great big wall in the way. The one thing we came to try to get rid of is being built up again.
but I enjoyed a cup of Horlicks today.
And did
I
Hazel ask her where you got it from?
She hasn't asked, but if she does, the Lord will give me an answer.
You just say that I gave it to you out of the kitchen.
Don't I say? I won't say.
No, you tell her.
No, I'll say it was a gift to me.
Listen,
Eh?
you are entitled to it.
Am I?
Yes.
Anyway, I'll say it was given to me by a friend.
Why can't you just tell her that I gave it to you at the kitchen?
I don't want to say that.
Why?
I just don't want her to know where I got it from.
You're not still frightened, are you? You
I'm
promised
not,
me you wasn't
no,
frightened anymore.
No, I'm not frightened. But I just don't want any unpleasantness.
It was a Friday,
Mm.
and I said, there's Dr. Perry coming. Shall I tell Dr. Perry what you did to me? She says, don't. Do not do that, because I'm in a state of these people coming, all my friends coming into my room.
All your friends coming into your
Your
room,
room.
and she got in a state about it.
Got a state about it.
But she can't hit you because you have friends coming in, can she? You must
Yeah.
have friends coming in when you want them in.
Yes.
She's not allowed to hit you at all.
No.
Nobody is.
Nobody is.
No.
But I got walloped.
But she shouldn't do it.
She shouldn't.
When you're upset like that, Neville, and you go
Yeah.
and cry in the bathroom, can't you come and talk to us about it? Instead of crying on your
I
own.
couldn't control my what you call it, my shame. I thought I was shamed.
I think the residents need an ally. Someone who's near to them. Someone who'll back them up. Because they are frightened. They're still frightened. And that's why I've stayed up their end of the site. And then this happened. Friday night. I came in and found this. At first I didn't feel afraid. I just thought it was just another attempt to sever their contact, to get me out, to get at the family as well. But then, I mean, as I looked around, and it was then I felt afraid. Because to me, obviously, somebody who was sick had done it. The implications of Antichrist were there as well. And I was afraid. And so I'm leaving. I've packed my things and I'm leaving. maybe the situation would quieten down if I was to go back to the convent. Maybe that's what they want. Because if it's this, then it doesn't just stop at this. It could be something else next week.
No, but you've told me you've been assaulted or hit by this person. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to write to the Housing Association. And I'm going to tell them what you told me. And I'm going to ask them to investigate, and I'm going to ask them to make sure it doesn't happen again. And if it does happen again, I'm going to tell them that you may take legal action against them. And you can do that, and I will advise you further. And if it does happen and you're frightened, then you may want to, and you may need to call the police. And obviously if that happens, then we'll have to do that very quickly. So you're not in any danger, not frightened. So it's two things, I think. If the letter to Springboard doesn't work and it happens again, is that we will get on to Springboard straight away, and we will also have to tell the police. I think that's the way to do it. But I hope that writing to them will stop it happening again.
A few weeks later, Hazel left, but the vandalism continued. In fact, it got worse.
They've really done it this time, Karen. They've just done the right thing that they wanted to do to us.
Who could be doing this? I don't know. Stick down and then you can play a little bit at least.
Because these two loose look is coming. One there, one there, one there, one there.
First I heard, it sounded like a shot. As we came out, a car was drawing off. But the pain has obviously been put back in.
So in other words, let me get the story right. Doors open as it is now.
Yes.
Car, do you think the car actually came into the driveway?
I think it parked outside.
Parked outside. Short time afterwards, glass goes. Car disappears at a rate of knots.
Yes.
And there's another incident somewhere else from the building, is there?
Around the back.
Would you like to show me that, please?
This was the night before last, about 3 o'clock, I think, in the morning. That's when we heard the noise. It should be tight, shouldn't it? That's it, that's it. Well, greatly.
Right down to the exclamation mark at the word die.
Oh, I noticed that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a good one. There's the dot and there's the stroke.
Well, if it don't wake anybody up, there must be something wrong.
What we can do is to provide you with some external security.
Yes.
I'll go into that in more detail with you later on. It's not a difficult job for us to do, and we'll probably give you some peace of mind.
Yes, we'll do that, to know that you were around, wouldn't it?
Well, it's a question of resolving it, maybe, and finding out who's responsible.
We've had phone calls with some husky voice saying, "Get out," and things like, "You won't be living here very long," or words to that effect, hasn't it been? And then there was the incident around Karen's bungalow was actually opened a couple of times.
I think that the situation as a family we're in now is that when we came here, it was only just over 4 months ago, we were very open, we wanted to meet people, we wanted to make relationships with them. But I think what came across to me at our last family meeting was that we were all now feeling that we would very much prefer to keep ourselves to ourselves. Because somebody here obviously doesn't want us, and someone's very angry and is hitting out at us, and we don't know who it is. I don't think there's any child in the house at the moment who's actually sleeping in their own bedroom. They have all decided that they're going to sleep with their brothers or sisters. Children who for a long time haven't wet the beds are wetting again. One child sleepwalking again who hasn't done it for a long time. It's a level of anxiety coming up. It's coming out in another one who's not eating properly. Another one who isn't able to concentrate at school, who's worried about what's going on at home. There's this anxiety going on all the time. We came here with the intentions of helping to build a community. We want to live here, the children like it here, and I felt it was the right thing to do to move here, and I still feel it's the right thing. Because no, of course we're not going to move. Because we're going on holiday to get away a bit early, it appears that a lot of the residents are requesting to come with us and are in fact coming. I think there are 5 now that are saying they would like to come.
We have been here for 5 weeks now. I feel I have changed so much. Life is so different to what I have been used to. No pressure. I feel I'm myself again, relaxed.
Have that. Oh, come sit over here. Come on.
You don't even have to say thank you in the East. My life?
Life is so different from I've been.
My life is so different from
Those past years that I had to stay in my room all the time. For years I've been so lonely. Now I'm surrounded with friends and animals.
Stay there. Aren't you flattered?
Is that a good breed?
Everyone's making a fuss of you.
Yeah, best for
They're making a fuss of me.
They're all making a fuss of you.
They're not.
Harlane.
I'm trying to discourage them, but
Yes. Oh, try a little harder.
For milk. You can have little baby over years, huh?
even the cat.
Yeah, you need another one. You need another guy.
Scarf.
Mama, she just tried all his nuts there. Didn't bring the coffee.
Oh, Splash. Forest. Billy go
Now
for
where?
me.
It's never going. Look at him opening the door.
Forest.
I had this cat sleeping in my bed. Would you like to have the cat in your bed tonight?
No, thank you.
Why not?
Because I'm not used to sleeping with animals.
Yes, but they like to sleep in everyone's bed in turn.
Right, hold your hands up for the car. So you never hold your hands up and then put it down for the car. That's it.
Neville's a wonderful example of someone who's been in the forest for years and suddenly let out in the open, and he's marveling at the sunshine and showers that he forgotten all about. he's been suppressed.
You finished, you finished. Yeah, quick.
He doesn't like brushing.
Yeah, I don't mind. Oh.
So long as it doesn't scratch him.
That is yummy.
He starts purring. That means he's content. He got into my bed the other day and he spent the day there.
What I want you to remember is, when we go home, right, the children are now used to having you around. Yes?
Well...
And we don't want to lose you when we go home, so you're going to keep coming down,
I don't know. I don't know how the children feel about me, but I try to...
Children are very fond of you.
I try to show that I'm willing to do it done and not just expect everything to be done for me.
I think the children are a bit worried when we go back that they won't see as much of you. So you'd have to make sure that we do.
Oh, no, well, you see, I don't enjoy walking, but I'll get hold of a cycle, and if I can cycle across, I'm more at home on a cycle than I'm on my feet. I roll over instead of having to spend so much time pacing it out. I don't know how long I'll be able to walk, because I'm getting on an age
well,
now.
When you can't walk, we'll push you down.
That's going to, you're taking on a burden. You got enough children to have to bother about without having an old jostle like me to add to it.
An old jostle like you adds quite a lot to our family, which we appreciate.
That's what I'd like to help in the same way that you've helped them. I'd like to augment that, not be a loss to you. I'd like to help them to go on the way that you've taught them.
Percy, we love you and we want you. And, you know, every time you walk around saying you're a burden, it hurts me.
Oh, no, you don't need to. It's just that I feel sensitive, thinking that you may be a misfit, but...
I wouldn't mind several misfits like you.
He doesn't value himself enough. I suppose that's because he's been institutionalised and all what's happened to him in life. And I feel that I'm failing him because I can't even after 6 months get him relaxed enough to know that he is wanted. And he is wanted.
We'd come back from the holiday with such hope. 6 of the residents had been with us. We'd seen relationships develop, and the community which we've been trying to create happened on holiday. But all the time we knew that there were 2 residents who'd have nothing to do with us. Les and Martha had always liked Hazel, and after she left, their dislike of us appeared to turn to hatred. The day we returned from holiday, we received this letter.
Dear Jeanette Roberts, the chairman of the trust requires that a separation be implemented between the Roberts family and those individuals who are living under our care at the St. Giles end of the site. These assurances are being required because of the formal warnings which we have received from our medical advisors. Individuals are in danger of medical and psychological damage if the separation which is outlined below is not instituted. The Trust now formally warn you of the potential dangers to ex-patients if the separation is not maintained upon your return to your home on this site. We warn you that there is a possibility that if your family continue to be present at the St. Giles end of the site, we have reason to believe that the children could be subject to violent attack. Your family will not have access to any of the communal facilities, including the recreation rooms, the laundry, the snooker room, pottery, lounges, kitchen, dining room, and to the green common gardens around the dwellings at the St. Giles end of the scheme. Yours sincerely.
The first meetings that we had in our television room, the plan was a sort of utopia here, and all the people around here will be a sort of friendly association, as a sort of a new village. Where is all that idea gone?
children love to learn, you see, but Bob can't help it, you see. They'll have to learn that there are some things they can't do anything about, you see, and so they have to accept things as they come, you see. It's very hard for children, I know it's very, very hard.
If the police catch him, then our problem will be solved.
Yes,
They'll
but-
find that they've been blaming your children simply just out of prejudice. And when they catch the thief, then we'll know that.
But I've already said that I personally believe that's a red herring, because that Les and Martha are not objecting to the children because of that. They're objecting to changes, and they're trying to stop the changes. And this is why they've made no effort, isn't it, to get to know the children at all. They've made no effort, Percy, have they, to get to know them or talk to them or welcome them?
I told them that if you haven't charity, you can't. Reading your Bible doesn't make you any more a Christian or ensure your salvation. If you can't be charitable to people that are in a poor position, and those people in the convent are very people that should be entitled to your consideration and charity, instead of which you're kicking them.
It's a farce, really, that they have prayer meetings and things like that and all this is going on the other side. It has no meaning.
I suddenly looked at him because I realised he hadn't said anything. I got a shock. It was like going back in time, 6 months. The contrast was amazing. It shook me. I think the progress during the holiday was, I mean, he was getting to know people, talking to people, they were looking out for him. And he was coming alive, his whole face was alive. And he just began to realise that he had rights, that he was capable of doing things for himself. And I suppose coming back and seeing him sitting in that sitting room, absolutely lifeless, I don't know, it just shook me.
I think this letter really spells out for me the end of the hopes of the community that we hope to build. You know, we're all living here, and we will go on living here, but I don't think I can't see at this point in time that we're ever going to achieve what we set out to do.
The chairman of the trustees of the Homes of St. Giles, dear Anthony Forbes, we, the undersigned, have seen and have had explained to us a letter which the Roberts family received and which was written under your instruction.
Well, I forgot to change my glasses.
We totally reject this directive as it places the undersigned in an impossible position and is in a direct challenge to any rights that we have to share our lives with the Roberts family. Thank you. We hereby give notice that if we are present in any of the common parts and wish to be with any of the family, we shall be free to do so. We also add that if indeed the family is in danger because any possible action by one of the residents here, then that resident should have immediate psychiatric help. Our whole community is being penalized. That is wholly unjust. Yours truly, P. Carmody, P. Cox, Neville Bauer, Patrick Garrity, and Michael Hajiani. After waiting some time, they came out of committee into the entrance, and then I asked for Mr. Forbes, and Mr. Forbes came out and said, "Yes, I'm Mr. Forbes." I said, "Oh, I've got a letter to present to you." I said, "The way that they have handled this family from the beginning is a disgrace to British charity."
This lady arrived with these brochures. I said to her, I said, can't they find someone to help me? My daughter will pay her. So she said, no, they can't do that. You'll have to go somewhere where they can look after you. She says, there's a place in Southend. I don't want to go, but what am I to do? If they're determined to send me, I'll have to go look at all my things over here. If I could have just a little help, little more help, I'd be all right. Just someone to take me up and down to the toilet, and somebody is sitting with me while I have a meal.
Seems to be the complaint in all old people's homes. They don't take much notice of the old people, and they just behave as if it's just a job to do. And they all know that we're pleading against the way that they're treating this family. They seem to be walk on the other side. At the prayer meeting, I said, how can you read the Bible and quote and sing hymns, and when these people across the way are told not to come across the bridge, how can you face your night prayers? And I suppose you say an act of contrition, but don't you know about the passage in the Bible that says, leave your gift on the altar and go and reconcile yourself. Then come offer your gift. The petition which we signed and handed in didn't seem to have any effect at all. In fact, the reverse, because the objection is reinforced, and since then we've been ignored for months and months. The quality of our lives has changed so much to the worst. Do I need any blanket?
No, there's enough there, Mr. Carmody.
I'll shortly be 90 years of age, and I feel that my loneliness and the loneliness of all of us living in St. Giles can only be ended by going over to the people that have been able to associate with us previously, but are now barred from coming to see us. So the only thing is for us to decide to go over and live among them. And we feel alive again. Our lives have changed from loneliness to being in company again, and not just prisoners on an isolation camp.
35 years now, I've been so lonely. I never believed that my life would change. But now I'm so happy because I'm loved, and the children imitate me with my songs.
Thanks for letting me draw you, all right?
Thank you for wanting to do it.
I said, it's all right. Any time you want, Mr. Cook.
This is for you from all the family, including all the older ones who don't live here.
I don't know what to do. Well, I hope that I give all of you and me a great deal of enjoyment, but it's more than...
It would be nice to be able to say that this story has ended happily. Unfortunately, it hasn't. The position for the family looks bleak. Springboard, the managing agents, have always declined to participate in this film, but in a letter to Jeanette last week, they made their position clear. They blame the family for what's happened, the acts of vandalism, and of spreading an atmosphere of hatred. When pressured to explain this position, Springboard maintain there is nothing to discuss. Jeanette Roberts is concerned that Springboard's attitude is coloured by their belief that children from disturbed backgrounds never change. Springboard have withdrawn their financial support, and unless they change their minds, Jeanette will have to find £12,000 a year to stay there. They've also asked her to pay £5,000 retrospectively to cover 1985.